Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. You know the drill. We're back at it again with the Entitled People Reddit stories. So let's jump into it. Entitled Former Best Friend shows her true colors. For context, I have a best friend named Barbara that was an angel from heaven who's helped me through many things. But during the last 2-ish months, things have randomly shifted. Barbara and her husband Dave had been constantly fighting, and I was always being pulled into the middle of it. I asked my husband, who has also been good friends with Barb and Dave for years, to replace me in the middle of these arguments because I just physically and emotionally couldn't deal. I'm currently 8 months pregnant, and these hormones just wouldn't allow it. I know it's dumb to insert ourselves this much, but Barb and Dave are our best friends, and we just wanted to make sure they're okay. When hubby would come home after dealing with the fallout of whatever fight they were having that day, it always ended with Barbara genuinely being the one in the wrong. Barbara quit her job and decided she didn't want to work anymore. She wanted to be taken care of financially and be a stay-at-home wife. What coincides with Barbara's attitude shift is that she's unfortunately been talking to her narcissistic, crazy mother, Karen, again. Karen has some wild, very old-fashioned views, and Karen told Barb that women shouldn't be working. This woman is living in the year 1950, where a woman's place is in the home, taking care of the kids, cleaning, and cooking. She is highly religious, using God as her justification to be a shitty human being, and she is super conservative and deep in the fog with conspiracy theories. She believes in Q, watches Fox News every single day, and believes the 2020 election was stolen by the Democrats. She is the living, breathing embodiment of the Karen stereotype. I was the one that convinced Barb to stop talking to her mother, for obvious reasons. So there is definitely some bad blood between Karen and I. I was so disappointed when Barbara let her mother back into her life. Anyway, on one of the evenings my husband was mediating between Barbara and Dave, I got a phone call from him. He was distraught and said he didn't want to wait until he got home to tell me, and that he was calling me to tell me about some problematic events that just occurred, that he couldn't do this mediating anymore. Apparently, Barbara and Dave had a huge fight, and Dave walked out. When Dave left, Barbara tried to throw herself at my husband. While my husband was on the phone telling me this, Barbara was screaming in the background, "Don't tell her! Don't tell OP!" And I told him to come home immediately. When my husband got home, he told me more about what happened. After Barbara tried to jump my husband and him, she stated that if he left me to be with her, she would give him the world, and that Dave and I were leeches on the both of them. She could give him the children he deserves, and not some rat in the gutter that I was giving him. Yes, she actually said this about an unborn child. He then grabbed out his cell phone and called me immediately. Needless to say, I was obviously pissed and horrified. I called Barbara to confront her with no answer. Minutes later, I get a call from her mom, Karen. She tells me that under no uncertain terms am I to get in between her and her daughter's happiness, that I should throw myself down a flight of stairs and do my husband a favor by letting him be with a real woman. Look, I'm a hothead, and unable to cope with hearing her to tell me to unalive myself and my unborn son, I threw the phone at the wall and shattered it. I went to our bedroom and let out all of the hormonal rage into my pillow. I cried for hours in disbelief that my best friend would prove to be just as delusional and manipulative as her mother. When Dave discovered what had occurred, because Karen called him to brag to him that my husband and Barbara were getting together, he came to our house straight away, being aggressive and angry. My husband set him straight on what happened, and we all decided then and there that Barbara was now out of our lives. Dave is finished with Barbara's entitled shit, her behavior mirroring that of her mother, all of the lies, as well as the attempt to seduce his best friend, her best friend's husband. He filed for a divorce a few days later, moved some things into our guest room, and has been living with us since. Barbara has tried coming here to beg Dave to take her back, but he's done with her. When she saw she wasn't getting anywhere with Dave, she tried getting my husband to talk to her, pounding on the door and shouting for him to come outside. He went outside, leaving the door open, and tried telling her to leave. Right there in front of me, she turned on the waterworks, and she was telling him everything she thought he would want to hear. That she could be good for him, that I was worthless as a mother and a wife, etc. It was the most pathetic thing I have ever seen. She tried hugging him, and he put his arms out to stop her. She flipped the script and began shrieking that he was assaulting her. I called the police. Barbara was shouting at me that I was trash and a lot of other choice words, repeating Karen's words for me and my kids to die. The police arrived and Barbara was escorted off the property. My husband didn't want to press charges, but shouted at Barbara to never come back. She made her bed and it was now time to lie in it. Because she and Dave didn't have a prenup, she wants to take everything from him. She now lives in the house, not paying any of her share of the utilities or mortgage. She's holding their pets hostage and even had the locks changed so that Dave couldn't get in even if he wanted to. Her mom is living in the house as well. I know this because I kept getting sent pictures of her and Barbara together as a means of throwing it in my face. I ended up blocking them after telling them both to go shove their gross, toxic relationship down someone else's throat. Dave has contacted his family and an attorney. His grandparents graciously offered $300,000 to Barbara and Karen so that they will leave and sign over Barbara's share of the house. She can keep her car and the pets and all of her personal belongings, but the house and his car is all he wants. The attorney has yet to hear back from them, but I suspect they're dragging this out just to punish Dave. He's still living with us and has been deeply depressed. He and Barbara were together for many years before they got married, and he feels betrayed and taken advantage of. He knows he has us to lean on for support, and we will always be there for him. But I know he needs more than that, and I suggested therapy. He's considering it. As for me, I'm truly heartbroken that the one friend I had trusted did this to appease the mother that manipulated and used her for so many years. I know my pain is nowhere near Dave's pain, but I still feel betrayed and used. Barbara will never get another chance with me, and I hope she won't be getting one with Dave either. Update: Karen tries selling my house and makes a fake Tinder profile for me. I posted a few weeks ago about my now former best friend trying to steal my husband. We are currently in the process of getting a no contact order against her and her mother Karen. So far, Karen's harassment has been minor and nothing worth noting. She just drives by my house several times a day to spy on us. We just ignore her and go about our business like she's not even there. However, for the last day or so, we began getting some strange calls from people asking to set up appointments to come look at our house, as they were interested in possibly purchasing it. We thought it was a mistake, so we just told them we weren't selling and that they must be mistaken. We realized it wasn't a mistake when my husband's phone was getting blown up with inquiries, so we asked them where they heard our house was up for sale. They directed us to Craigslist, where there was an ad for our house. The ad was almost too good to be fake, with pictures of the front of my house and my backyard, but the interior pictures were of some other house. The ad was listing the house for cheap. My husband's business number was posted in the ad. We were able to get the post taken down, but the damage was done. So now we're having to tell everyone calling that the ad was fake and we're not selling the house. Most have been understanding, but a few were angry. Obviously, Karen was the one who posted the ad, as she keeps driving past our house and probably snapped a few pics of the exterior while doing so. We made a report with the police, and that's all we can really do. We have no credible proof Karen is behind it, but we know it's her because it's just too crazy to be a coincidence. We're going to keep documenting everything until we have enough proof to take Karen to court, but so far, she is getting away with all of this. The police sympathize, but they have to go with the law. I've also been getting messages from strange men on Facebook claiming they were directed there from my Tinder profile. I know Karen probably set this up in attempts to start issues between my husband and I so that Barbara can swoop in and snatch him up. These two really are very delusional and live in a fantasy world. My husband trusts me though and knows that I wouldn't make a Tinder profile. Great googly moogly. What a mess. To me, it seems like Barbara has had a crush on OP's husband for a while, possibly years, and that she had told her mother Karen about this crush. It's all just too sudden for them to just randomly come up with these plans to try and steal OP's husband. It's very obvious that Barbara has been jealous of OP for quite some time. Almost like a keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer kind of situation. The apple clearly doesn't fall far from the tree in regards to these two, and I think OP needs to be treading more carefully. Get some cameras ASAP, hire a lawyer to advise the next move. And if the online fake profile / listing harassment bullcrap continues, it may be worth it to look into hiring an investigator that specializes in online issues. They can trace the IP address of whoever posted the fake profiles, which would result in some evidence that can be submitted for harassment. I hope Karen and Barbara just eventually get bored and stop, but that's usually not the case with delusional psychos. So I wish OP and her family and Dave the best. I'll be sure to let you guys know if there's ever another update for this one. But anyway, that is all from me today. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!